I came upon a quiet cemetery in Lucasville, Ohio, appropriately named the Lucasville Cemetery. It was a place where time seemed to slow down in that little niche of the state of Ohio. As I stood and listened, the wind kind of moved gently through the trees, and the names etched in the weathered stones speak softly of lives long past. On one such stone is the name of a young man from Sauter County named Private Cecil Hanna. He was born on April 4th, 1918. He died on March 6th, 1942, just 23 years old. At first glance, his grave marker appears much like many other from the World War II generation. But as I stood before it, a question arose in my head. Where did he die? Because of the date that he died in 1942. D-Day hadn't even happened yet. Well, maybe he was in the Pacific. I didn't know. But then, after further research, the answer was unexpected. He didn't die in France. He didn't die in Germany. He didn't die in South Pacific. Instead, the records pointed to a small island in the Caribbean Sea known as Aruba. Aruba? How could a young man from rural southern Ohio die there during World War II? To understand the answer, we must travel back to the dark days following the attack on Pearl Harbor. It was early 1942. America had only recently entered the war. Across the nation, young men were leaving farms, factories, and small towns to answer their country's call. And among them was Cecil Hanna. At that time, Aruba was a possession of the Dutch kingdom, located just off the coast of Venezuela. Though small in size, it held nothing, or it held something of enormous importance to the Allied war effort. Oil. The island contained one of the largest oil refineries in the world. Tankers brought crude oil from nearby Venezuela, and the refinery transformed it into gasoline and aviation fuel, desperately needed by Allied ships and aircraft. In many ways, Aruba had become one of the most valuable strategic locations in the Western Hemisphere. And the Germans knew it. In February 1942, German submarines appeared in the Caribbean waters. Their mission was simple: destroy the oil supply that fueled the Allied war machine. Tankers were torpedoed, ships burned. The Caribbean had become a battlefield. To protect their vital facilities, American troops were dispatched to Aruba. Among them was Private Cecil Hanna. Thousands of miles from Lucasville, Ohio, he found himself standing guard on a tropical island surrounded by palm trees and blue waters. Yet, beneath that peaceful appearance lay the reality of war. Every shadow raised suspicion. Every identified vessel on the horizon demanded attention. The threat of sabotage and attack was real. Then on March 6, 1942, tragedy struck. Historical records indicate that Private Hannah was fatally shot while serving as a sentry on guard duty. Now, the exact circumstances have faded with time. Whether it was an accident, a misunderstanding, or some other tragic event, the details remain largely lost to history. What remains is the fact that a young Ohio soldier never came home alive. His war ended on a distant Caribbean island, far from the battlefields most Americans associate with World War II. For the people of Lucasville, the loss was deeply personal. Records describe Cecil Hannah as the first soldier fatality from the community during the war. Before the victories, before the headlines, before Normandy, before Iwo Jima, there was a young man from Sauter County who gave his life in service to his country during those uncertain opening months of World War II. Today, many visitors pass through Lucasville Cemetery without knowing his story. They see a name, a date, a military marker. But behind that stone lies a journey that stretched from the hills of southern Ohio to a distant Caribbean island at a critical moment in world history. Private Cecil Hannah's story reminds us that the war touched places far beyond Europe and the Pacific. It reached into small American communities. It carried young men to unfamiliar corners of the world, and it left families behind who mourned sons, brothers, and friends whose names would gradually fade from public memory. Yet here in Lucasville, his marker still stands. Quiet, unassuming, faithfully keeping watch, and perhaps that is why we visit these cemeteries, to remember, to honor, and to ensure that the stories of men like Private Cecil Hannah are not forgotten. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Private Cecil Hannah, we salute you. We thank you for giving your life for this country. And we thank you most assuredly that if not for you and others like you, we would not have the country we have today and the freedoms we have today. So thank you, Private Cecil Hannah. And may we never forget the price paid by so many of America's sons. Thanks for the memories. This is Bob.